Good morning, 8th graders. This is the math lesson video for lesson 3-7, page 134, numbers 10 through 30, all of them. The assignment deals mainly with something called formulas. We're going to look at 3 different formulas here, and we're going to check out how to use them, and hopefully you'll get in the swing of things pretty easily. The first one is easy, I think, because you've had it a lot in the past. Perimeter equals length plus width plus width. If I have a rectangle that looks like this, and it has a length of 6 inches and a width of 4 inches, and somebody says, hey, find the perimeter of that rectangle. What they're really asking for is, how far is it all the way around the rectangle? Perimeter is the distance all the way around the rectangle. So in this particular case, you would take, Josiah, where are you going?
What?
Where are you going?
Use the bathroom.
We don't just wander out of the room. Sit down. So in this particular case, using the formula, we would just add 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4, and we would get 20 inches as our perimeter. The formula changes if you're doing something like a rectangle, a triangle, then you just measure up the 3 sides. Or if you were doing a pentagon, which has 5 sides, you'd be adding up the lengths of all 5 sides. So pretty easy. Perimeter's good to go on that. Yes, you may. What? Yes, you may. Okay, the next formula, also something you should be familiar with, is how do we find the area of a rectangle? Area is different than perimeter. If I have again, the same rectangle that's 6 by 4 inches, and I'm asking for area, that's not the distance around the object. That is talking about how much space the rectangle is taking up. And in this particular case, we're going to be talking about how much space it takes up in square inch sizes. So I could do this manually by dividing this into 4 rows vertically and 6 rows horizontally, and then you'd see that there's 24 different squares there, hence the area is 24 square inches. But we can also use the formula. Area is length times width. 6 times 4 is 24. There's 24 square inches in that shape. Okay, so those are 2 formulas. We got perimeter, which is just simply adding up the lengths of the sides, and we've got area, which is length times width. What about this third one up above that I've been avoiding so far? Distance equals rate times time. Distance equals rate times time. Imagine you're in a car, and you're going to travel 5 hours, that's going to be my time, and you're going to travel at a speed of 60 miles per hour. Miles per hour is called a rate. Notice it's a comparison of 2 values. You're comparing miles to hours. It's actually a fraction. This is really the fraction of 60 miles over the top of 1 hour. We don't write it that way because it's easier to write it this way, but that's the way we write it, mph, miles per hour. So, can you tell me what the distance is in this particular case? Well, it should be pretty easy. It would be a distance of 300 miles, right? So that's one way to use that formula. But guess what? There are other ways to use that formula. In this particular case, I gave you the rate and the time. What if I gave you the distance and time and said, find the rate? Let's say that I told you that somebody traveled 800 miles, and they did that in 10 hours. Can you figure out the rate? Well, you should be able to. Just substitute r for rate and solve this equation for r. I would have to divide both sides by 10, and when I do that, I get a rate of 80. What would be the label for that? Well, that would be miles per hour. So evidently, the person who was doing this was speeding and probably got pulled over by Mr. Olson. 80 miles per hour. So in this case, we solved for the rate. We could also use this formula to solve for time. Let's say I told you that Josiah was riding his bicycle and he did 70 miles of riding. And let's say I told you that he was traveling at a rate of 10 miles per hour, and I wanted you to find the time value. In this particular case, solving for the time value, we're going to divide both sides by 10, and the time is 7. 7 what? What's going to be the label for a time situation like this? The label should be hours. Okay, so 3 different formulas, 3 different ways of solving them. Thank you. Have a good day.